Welcome to the Chester Centurion Podcast, where we explore the real stories behind entrepreneurship, the challenges faced, and the success earned. I'm your host, Alan Bark, and today's episode is a conversation about resilience, risk, and reward. Joining me today is Monique, the founder of Placement Staffing, a recruitment business servicing healthcare, industry, and education sectors. Just 3 years ago, she made the bold decision to walk away from a secure job and start her own business without a safety net. Since then, she's built a thriving company, navigating the rollercoaster of business ownership and gained invaluable insights into adaptability, personal growth, and leadership. In this episode, Monique shares the reality of leaving a secure job to go all in on entrepreneurship, the biggest misconceptions about running a business, how she balances family and work and self-development, including studying for a degree while she's running her company, as well as our top 3 lessons for anyone starting or struggling in business. This is an episode filled with raw honesty, practical advice, and plenty of inspiration. If you're thinking of starting your own business, or if you're in the thick of it and just looking for some guidance, this is the one for you. Let's dive in. Monique, welcome to the Chester Centurion Podcast.
Thank you.
So before we get started today, I'd love to know a little bit more about you, about the business and what it is you do.
Yeah, so my name's Monique and I'm based in North Wales, and I run a recruitment company specialising in healthcare, industrial and the education sectors. So I started the company 3 years ago. It's been extremely challenging, but it's also been really rewarding as well. And I find that it's taken me completely out of my comfort zone. It's completely different to what I expected it to be. And it's definitely helped me grow as a person.
Wow. So let's dive into that a little bit more, Monique. So what motivated you to start your own business, and what were the sort of driving force behind the decision to take on this entrepreneurial role?
I think for me, I'm all about personal growth and taking yourself out of your comfort zone. So I'm a mum of 3 boys, and what I found was, even though I enjoyed all the companies that I've worked for, that I was employed by, I was dissatisfied with being employed by companies, and I always had this little urge that I wanted to go and start my own business one day. I've always been fascinated by anything to do with business, especially startups, like creating something from scratch. And it was on my mind for a long time, and I literally walked out of my job one day, felt really empowered, got to the car park, remembered I've got a mortgage to pay and kids to feed. And I thought, right, this is it. We're going for it. And literally the next day I set up my own company. So to begin with, it was really, when I look back, the small things mattered massively at the beginning. And then obviously the longer I went into the journey, I realised like the stress I underwent thinking about how to have my logo, and then leaflets and stuff, you know, small things like that. I thought they were huge problems at the beginning, but as well, it was really exciting because I was creating something from scratch from the beginning, and it was my journey, and I was basically had to be responsible for myself and for other people. And that's what motivates me every day with it, really, and that's what keeps me going, because it is extremely hard having your own business, but it's also really rewarding, because I think for me, another motivation was flexibility and creating my own schedule. That was a huge one for me. So being able, just small things like being able to go and get my children from school, whereas while I was employed, they're little perks that I couldn't go and do. But now I'm self-employed, like my time is my own. I can go and do those things. And they seem like such small things, but the years go by so fast. And you look back, like my eldest now, he's 17 in May. I look back and I think I've missed out all of that but I'm just glad that I got to do it over the last 3 years. Like I've got my flexibility back. And that's something that we promote with being an agency. We promote flexible working.
So going back 3 years, you've got a mortgage, you've got 3 boys to feed, as you said, and you've walked out of your job into the car park, right?
Crying.
What emotions are going through your head at that point?
What have I done? That was a huge one. Where's my next wage coming from? Mm-hmm. Because obviously I'd always been on a salary my whole life. I'd always been on a monthly salary. So it was, where's my wages going to come from? We need to get this started. A lot of people said to me at the time, why don't you just sit back, just give it a month, a few weeks a month, reset, think properly about what you want to do. But I just thought, no, we've got to go for it now. I've took the biggest step by leaving security, basically, because I had the security of a job that I was paid monthly regardless. So I thought, we've just got to go for it now. So literally it was the next day I started putting plans in place to get the business moving, basically. But yeah, there was a lot of mixed emotions. I remember I literally sat in my car and I felt really empowered, like, this is great. I've never walked out of a job before. This is brilliant. And then seconds later, I was crying, thinking, what have I done? How am I getting paid next month? What if this doesn't work? And I was actually doubting my sanity, because I was like, this is crazy what I've just done. But you've got to take risk in life. You live once.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it was Brad Sugars that said, if a decision doesn't fill you full of a little bit of fear and a little bit of excitement, then it's probably the wrong decision in the first place.
Oh, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified.
But you used that as a motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've got to do things that scare you, because I think you can get too comfortable in life. And I was comfortable being employed. And, I'm thankful for all the experience I gained from being employed. It's got me to where I am today. But I never felt fulfilled working for anybody, because I had a voice, but I couldn't give my full opinion of how I wanted things to be. And I think with creating the business, I am the voice of it now. I make all the decisions. Obviously, I've got mentors that I go to for guidance, and I think that's really important, especially when you're first starting out, because you are going to make mistakes. I have made mistakes along the way over the last 3 years. So you do need good people around you, but you can only motivate yourself.
Yeah. So with those 3 years under your belt now, what would you say the biggest common misconception about running a business is, and how did you go about addressing that?
I think for me, because I'd always been employed and then I've been self-employed for 3 years, I think the biggest misconception is financial opinions.
Go on.
Now, I feel, my personal experience, that since I've been self-employed, you find that you get people clapping for you behind the scenes. They really want you to do well. But then I find that you get other people that then really zone into, how well are you doing and what are you earning now? I felt that people took more of an interest, and I feel that people feel like some people's opinions are that you're earning more money when you're self-employed. But what they don't see is that you're working more hours, you're working around the clock, you cannot switch off. And that's one huge misconception. People think you get all this time and freedom back. And you do in a way, you can create your own schedule. Like I've got more flexibility now. But what people don't see is you can't switch off from your business. It is on your mind all the time. And it's very, very hard not to burn out. And you have to really take a step back sometimes and make sure that you're looking after yourself, because one, you don't want to be burnt out, because that's not good to anybody and you're going to make bad decisions. But secondly, it's your health as well. You've got to take care of yourself. And I think that's one of the huge misconceptions I found, financial, and people thinking, oh, well, you work for yourself, you can just do what you want now, and that's not the case. It's, you know, an example of that. If we go on holiday, I'm still working. Or people will say to me, the best one is Christmas, New Year, oh, have you got some time off now? You off for a couple of weeks? And I'm thinking, I've not had a day off in 3 years. I don't get a day off anymore. I might be able to pop and get my children from school, and, you know, my time's my own over the day, but I don't get a day off.
Yeah. So that leads me beautifully on to the next question. Thank you for the segue. It's how do you maintain a work-life balance as a business owner? And do you have any personal rituals and habits that keep you motivated and focused?
It's really, really hard when you're self-employed to get a work-life balance. Really hard. But I've had to be quite strict in the sense of I make time to go to the gym. I make time to go for a walk, getting out in the fresh air. I don't want to be on my laptop 24/7. So you have to be strict with it, and making lists as well. I have to make lists, because otherwise there's always stuff to do, especially in recruitment. There's always stuff to do. So I think for me, I have to prioritize my workload. Like, what's important, what needs doing right now, what can wait while I go to the gym, just to take a half an hour break out of the working day. I'm walking on lunch breaks and stuff. I'm a huge advocate of that. Even the girls in the office, I say you need to make sure you're getting fresh air and stuff. And I just think when you go into the gym and when you're walking or running, it clears your mind. And I think when you've got a clear mind, it makes you think better and you make better decisions. Because don't get me wrong, the first 12 months of being employed, I was probably suffering with stress. After about 10 months in, I was always second doubting and questioning any decisions that I was making.
I think you've hit upon a really good point there, Monique, and it's allowing yourself the time to be able to, I guess, detox, clear your mind, and wherever that is, whether it's in the bath, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's spending some time in the woods. You know, some of my clients actually enjoy spending some time walking in the woods. But once your mind clears, you've got that clarity of thought that allows you to make better decisions for the business, and you can start to get creative then as well. You find new ideas and new maybe solutions for issues that you've got start to pop into your head at that point. And it's talked about a lot in some of the best business books that are available today. They talk about this as really important. It's not working in the business, it's working on the business and giving yourself the clarity of thought to be able to work on the business. Really important.
Yeah, so important. You've really got to take time for yourself, because you do end up, you're constantly thinking about the business. You're thinking about everybody that you're employing. It's such a huge responsibility. Your cash flow, that's like a roller coaster. Some weeks it's great, it's not a worry. Other weeks you're like, what are we going to do? But you get through it, and you do have to look after yourself.
Yeah,
you really do. And it's something that I say to my team all the time. And when I was the first 12 months, I thought, I'm giving this advice and making sure everybody's taking care of themselves, but I'm not taking care of myself. And that's when I've had to become strict. So I make sure now that my diary over the week, I'm fitting in runs, I'm fitting in a gym session. I make sure I go to it. I've got a personal trainer who makes sure that I go because I'm being accountable to her. Because otherwise it'd be, if it was just taking myself to the gym and it became really busy in the office or something came up, I would be like, oh no, I'll just go later. And then I wouldn't end up going. So I'm accountable now that I have to go. And I enjoy it when I go. It's just it's that time out, and then better decisions are made.
Yeah. Look after yourself. Business is moving faster than it's probably ever moved. And we're in a sort of constantly evolving business landscape. How do you stay adaptable and open to change? And are there any specific strategies that you use to remain innovative?
I think for us, I'm really adaptable. I have been since day one. We constantly ask for feedback. We're constantly trying to make the business bigger and better. I think you have got to get mentors around you, like I mentioned earlier. You've got to listen to feedback. Don't take it as a criticism. And you have to look at what's working and what isn't. And it's okay to make mistakes. That's one of the things I've learned. It's how you adapt to it. And you've got to be adaptable. If something's not working, you've got to address it. But on the flip side of it, if something else is working really well, how can you improve on that?
Tell us more about the feedback. How do you use that to improve the business?
So we're a recruitment company. So we've basically got over 100 agency workers that are employed by us. So they go out to our clients and we get feedback from clients about the customer service that they get in the office, about service that they get from the agency workers. We're always asking for feedback. To be fair, 99.9% of the time the feedback is really positive, which is great. Mm-hmm. But we'll also ask, if they're happy with all aspects of the business. And we do the same with our agency staff as well to make sure that they're happy and fulfilled in their roles. So we do try to empower them. We encourage them to always learn. Huge advocate of that. But you do have to listen, because if you don't listen to your clients and there's something that might not be working, you're not going to retain them clients. Mm-hmm. You need to know. And I think it's not seen as criticism, it's constructive, isn't it? That's how I see it.
Yeah, well, feedback is the breakfast of champions. I don't know if you've heard that before, but it's so true. And it's really refreshing that you're using that in a positive way to grow the business. And also, you're right, the failures that we have, the mistakes that we make, we should learn from as well. It's fail often, fail fast, but fail forwards. So as long as we learn from our mistakes, they're helpful.
Yeah, and don't quit when you feel like you failed. It's a learning curve, and it gives you experience and knowledge.
So could you offer a glimpse into the future plans and goals for the business? What do you envisage for the next chapter of your entrepreneurial journey?
The next chapter for us, we've done the startup stage, and now we're on the scale up stage, which, it's I laugh. But for us, we cover Wales at the moment. We do a bit of work in northwest England, so we're just looking to expand, really. But it's expanding the right way. We don't want to expand too quick, because that's where we could potentially get problems.
Mm-hmm. Scale up.
Yeah, scale up time now.
You've talked a lot about looking after yourself and your own self-development during the podcast. What would you say the key to success with your own self-development? How do you go about making sure that you're sharp?
If I don't know something, I'll make sure I learn how to do it. I'll ask. I'm doing an open university degree as well at the moment in business management, but that's to keep me fresh on my toes. So I'm up to speed with everything. All the training courses that the agency staff I've done and completed. So I've got the experience that I've done them. I wouldn't give them any training unless I had done it as well. And I think it just keeps you sharp. You've always got to keep learning. And it's something that we encourage our agency team to do as well, because otherwise you can get quite comfortable and things change all the time, and it goes back to being adaptable as well. It all links in, being adaptable, learning.
There's a lesson there, isn't there? I mean, you're a mother of three. You've got your own business, and you're doing an open university degree at the same time. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't stop. So when I've finished that's in business management. Once I've got that degree completed, I then want to go and study law.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Yeah, I want to go and study corporate law. I don't even know why, but I want to.
Absolutely love it. I love your energy. It's so cool. Listen, I've got one more question to ask, but it's a big one.
Go on.
Ready?
Yeah.
What are the top 3 pieces of advice you'd offer aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting their own journey or maybe facing challenges in their business? What are your top 3?
My top 3 would be, if you're thinking about starting a business, go and do it.
Yeah.
It's better to fail trying than to always think I should have gone and done it, because life goes so quick.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you do go and start a business, or if you're in business at the moment and you're struggling, make sure that you've got the right people around you. That's your team, mentors, even clients, to be honest. Make sure that everybody around you is good for your business and given the right guidance, especially with mentors.
Yeah.
And thirdly, my advice would be, obviously I've mentioned this a lot during the talk, but make sure that you are looking after yourself, and that's health-wise, and make sure that you are continuing to learn as well. You don't want to get comfortable when you're self-employed. You've always got to keep learning and improving.
Wow. So let me repeat them. So if you're going to start your own business, just do it. Just do it. And, you can learn from your mistakes. You can learn from your failures and move forward. Get the right people around you. Get the right team. Get the right mentors. Get the right clients. Not a lot of people think about that. And I think it's a really valid point. And make sure you're looking after your own health, and make sure you're looking after your own self-development as well. Monique, what a way to end the podcast. Thank you so much for being on. Absolutely wonderful. Really enjoyed having you today, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.